Hello, Bucs fans. We've got breaking news. Welcome to a pop-up edition of, the Bucs Report Show live. Bucs Report breaking news. Antonio Brown is back. In the story that just wouldn't go away, will Antonio Brown resign? Will he not resign? Well, guess what, folks? He resigned. So he's back. It's going to be a one-year, $3.1 million deal. I believe we have Evan Winter may be coming on here shortly to break down all of the details and such. So, Antonio Brown is back. Your Bucs are all completely back intact. That's a done deal, guys. Apparently, he has agreed to terms to a 1-year, $3.1 million deal. So I want to hear from you guys. We have lots to be excited about. Here on this quick little pop-up edition, and we'll see if you guys want to chat, want to talk about the Antonio Brown signing. I'm going to put the link right now in the chat if I can. All right, and there we go. All right, I got the link in the chat for you, and like I said, hopefully Evan Winter will be coming on here shortly. I'm excited to hear this. I said a couple of days ago, guys, that that once the draft happened, once the draft took place, I think AB, the chances of him coming back were greatly diminished. I think it was one of those things where all of a sudden you have to start looking at the talent that's available in the draft because it's a fairly deep draft at wide receiver, so they just had to kind of I think they had to start to consider looking elsewhere, and I think that's all the leverage fell squarely on the Bucs. They had all the leverage in this situation, and I think Antonio Brown just realized, okay, it's time, guys. I'm not the market's not out there for me, so be it. So I'm excited about this. AB is back. AB is back, and now all those questions, we get question after question. Everybody always saying, "Hey, is AB coming back?" Now we have the answers. Yes, he is back for 3 years, or maybe for 1 year. $3.1 million is the last I heard. Evan Winter hopefully will be coming on here with some more details. So I'm excited about that. It's the day before the draft, folks. The day before the draft, this is taking place, and I'm excited about the draft tomorrow night. We have a huge draft party. This thing is going to be a lot of fun. It's at Ferg's in St. Pete, and if I can get this up here we go. At Ferg's in St. Pete, we have a live draft party tomorrow night. We're going to have a raffle, giveaway, fun stuff from Foco.com and Smack Apparel. We got all kinds of goodies. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's great food, and we're going to be there doing the show live. You can always tune in right here. Lots of great stuff. All right, there we go. Lester Grimes is coming. He's going to be at the party at Ferg's. It's going to be a lot of fun. But so AB's back, folks. AB is back. All kinds of good news. Now everybody. Now Bucs fans, what are we going to look at and complain about? Now what are we going to say? They've taken every little bit of concern, I think, away. The Buccaneers have done an amazing job. I mean, I can't get that scene out of my head from The Shining with Jack Nicholson breaking through the door going, "We're back." That's what it feels like. This is going to be quite a year. We got all kinds of good news coming out of this organization year. It's all of last year. It's continued into this year. It's one good thing after another. So I guess that's making up for the years of horror. Let's bring Joshua Cole Allen in. Hey, brother, how you doing, my friend?
It's very rare that I actually sleep in, and I mean 8:30 is sleeping in nowadays. But I wake up to an avalanche of alerts and news feeds, and hey, AB is back! Wow, what a move!
Yep.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there too, and that's exactly what AB realized that hey, if I don't get this done before Thursday,
Yeah.
there's a really good chance. Now, I don't know if he, has people who read stuff or if he reads stuff and read some mocks, but there's been a lot of mocks with Elijah Moore and
Yeah.
other wide receivers drafted to them in the first round,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and if that happens, AB is probably as good as gone. So
Yeah.
it's a modest deal. He can make up to $6.5 million on it. It's pretty much the Leonard Fournette deal, right?
Right.
It's almost exactly the same terms. So it's great to have him back in the fold. You really can't replace what he has and
Right.
what he brought to the team. His, I'm gonna say something. It's gonna sound weird. His veteran experience and leadership. Yeah, I mean, he was by all accounts a huge part of that locker room. You
Wow.
heard Jason Light talk about it. You heard
Wow.
Chris Godwin talk about it after the Super Bowl. His impact. Um,
Yeah.
and just that's off the field. On the field, he's still one of
Yeah.
the best route runners in the game. One of the best hands. He's extremely smart wide receiver, and that's why it
Yeah.
was so quickly for him and Brady to get in sync. Um, but
Yeah.
it's a great addition. It's a great addition, and he's pretty fresh. I mean, he only played in what, eight,
Eight
nine, 10,
games or
11.
something the last 2 years.
Oh
So,
yeah, 11. I think
yeah.
13 games tops. So,
Yeah.
um, great move. Allows him to bring literally now everybody back.
Everybody is back.
The
Period.
only guy
And
who's not back
everybody.
is
No
Mr. Guy.
qualifications. No saying from week one. No qualifications. Period. Everybody's back. I mean, if they're not back, can you remember who they were? Because I mean,
One guy, and that's your favorite backup quarterback in the land. Blaine Gabbert is the
yeah,
only guy that is
and
not
he'll
back.
probably be back.
He
You
will
know,
too, most
right,
likely. I
right,
mean, the question now is, how does this affect their draft board? And B, how
yeah.
does it affect their salary cap? Because they have no money, no money.
Well,
I,
I
I
think
mean, I'm
that'll
sure,
happen quick. I
I'm
think that'll
sure
happen.
this signing it won't be official for a few days or whatnot.
Right.
But they've got to do something. They've got to make a move, whether it's either trading a player like an OJ Howard,
Yeah.
a Cam Brate, a Ronald Jones, whether it's
Somebody will restructure over the next day or two.
restructuring
Yeah.
Ali Marpet or Mike Evans are really the only two guys can restructure, or do they do an extension? Do they extend the JPP a year past this year? Do they extend the Ryan Jensen past this year? Those are some of the guys to kind of look out and watch for.
Yeah.
But I, eh, it doesn't matter. They'll figure it
Yeah.
out because the
Yeah.
whole
They'll
team
get
is
that.
coming
That's
back.
the thing is it's a 1 year deal. They're not mortgaging the future.
Exactly.
This is something that okay, we got them back for this year. Let's enjoy this run, and a year from now we'll be talking. We'll be recapping the year that was. Hopefully, a repeat. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll find out pretty quick. I mean, this whole thing goes, but it's just amazing that now. I mean, but before when we could say they re-signed all 22, there was the qualifier. It was all 22 starters from week one. Now you got everybody because you brought in a pretty big piece halfway through the year there, and they also brought in McClendon, who wasn't at the beginning of the year. Everybody's back. Everybody's back.
And it truly just adds to the fact that they can do absolutely anything in this
Yeah.
draft. They could still take a wide receiver because they'd be bumping Justin Watson off the squad. As long as that wide receiver they take a special teams ability, they could still take a wide receiver. They could literally do anything. And it's been one of the hardest drafts to prepare for for a team
Well,
I've ever done in my entire
yeah.
life. Even the Super Bowl champion, the 2007 nearly perfect Patriots was an easier draft to look at and say, okay, they could use this. This team has nothing.
Well, no, but I mean, but that Patriots team, not everybody came back.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, this is literally a team where you look at and go, yeah, I don't know where you put anybody. I mean, I really don't even know where you. Hey, I was thinking about this morning. It's certainly, I don't believe in any skill position. I know you said it could be wide receiver, maybe quarterback. You bring in somebody. Okay, but I don't believe. I think you're so overstacked at wide receiver. I think you're overstacked at tight end. I think you're overstacked at running back. I mean, if it's not on the line, it better be defense.
And even
Because
line too. If you look at the line, you brought back Spinney, you brought back
I know,
Wells.
I know.
It's like what you're looking for. This is where I'm kind of, and I'll have my last mock out tomorrow. And this is what I'm looking at is all depth with
Right.
potential experience. And you're looking at center. There's not a center on this roster behind Ryan Jensen. Maybe quarterback if they don't
Yeah.
bring Blaine Gabbert, if they do go after a Mond or a Mills or a Trask. Um, Fifth cornerback, fourth cornerback. This is what we're talking about, Rick. Third, fourth, outside
That's what I said
linebacker.
last. That's what I said on my last show. Is I said you're literally drafting for special teams
Yeah, you're
because there's
looking.
no other way you can use anybody. I mean, there's just nowhere to put them,
Anyone
and
they
that's
draft has to have special teams ability.
yeah,
I mean, third, fourth outside linebacker, fourth linebacker
yeah,
after Kevin Minter. You're looking at maybe
yeah.
interior defensive tackle depth, or
Which is
like
supposedly the worst draft in NFL history for defensive tackles.
and
So
fourth safety. I mean,
yeah,
four. The key on that is third and fourth
yeah.
string.
That's why I'm gonna say again what I've been saying. I hope they just trade completely out of this draft. I mean,
They could.
completely out of it. I don't
They
even. I
definitely
mean,
could.
yeah, because just a mass picks for next year. Because next year these 1 year contracts are up. It's supposedly a better, bigger, badder, deeper draft. It's the time to do that. So yeah, I mean it just makes sense to me. I think that's what they need to do is just trade out of the draft, especially now. Especially now. I just don't know where you put somebody. I
Yeah.
really don't. I mean, maybe see, I don't like the idea of let's draft a quarterback to develop him. Everybody wants to develop a quarterback under Brady. I just don't. I don't know. I don't. Maybe I just don't buy into the whole develop a quarterback thing anymore because I've been a Bucs fan for too long. You don't develop quarterbacks.
Well, they've
Yeah.
had success with first round picks. They've
Who
just always
has?
been with the Bucks.
No,
It's just
they have not had success.
always been
The
with another
picks have
team.
had success. Yes. Yeah, the
Vinny
picks have had
Testaverde had a
success.
good career. Doug Williams won a
Yeah.
Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Josh Freeman was a serviceable backup journeyman quarterback.
Vinny didn't win
Very
a
still
Super Bowl, did he?
No, he might have as a backup.
No. I don't think Vinny won a Super Bowl. I think
No, Dilfer won one.
Dilfer
Right?
won one, Young, obviously.
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty
they've had
crazy. Let's
success
bring in some
last
more info here. Let's bring in Evan Winter. Evan has. Hey, Evan, how you doing?
What's up, Rick? Happy morning to both of y'all.
Good morning. I hear you've got the dirty details.
Not as much as the next person, but yeah, dude. Obviously, Antonio Brown's back, and
Yeah.
you gotta love the move. $6.5 million. That's how much it could be worth up to. 3.1 in incentives, and then obviously the 2 million signing. So half of it's already been paid out, but he's still got to earn the other half. And apparently, according to Mike Garafolo or Garofalo, however you pronounce his last name, NFL Network, Tom Brady pushed for this. So obviously Brady loves the dude, and you got to always love it whenever you see guys sticking up, standing up for their guys. And Brown's been a class act, and that civil suit obviously had some kind of effect on the situation, despite what Jason Light said. I think that just goes to show, you want to take these guys for their word, general managers, coaches, players, all that stuff. But at the same time, you've always got to take it with a grain of salt because Light said exactly a week ago, I even wrote about it on Bucs Report, that his civil suit being settled didn't really affect the outcome of the case, but here we are a week later and he's signed with the team.
I'm not sure it did have anything to do with it as much as it was the draft. I think Antonio Brown knew if they don't draft, if they go draft a wide receiver, I may not be back with the Buccaneers. I'm easily replaceable, and that's amazing to be able to say that about a guy who's maybe one of the best receivers, certainly in the league right now.
Well, apparently, I think it was Tom Pelissero said that there was only one other team in the mix, and this entire time, we've only really heard two teams outside of the Bucs really have any kind of interest, and that's the Seahawks and the Ravens. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, his market's not that big, and apparently, it didn't get much bigger even after
Well,
last week's news.
And the leverage with the draft. I mean, he literally had one more day to sign,
Right.
or they were very easily able to just go in and say, "Yeah, we're going to be fine if we get another route runner. You know, we need a strong route runner at receiver other than him, and if we can get that, I think we'll be good." So yeah, this is going to be. It's just everything came through the way that it needed to come through, which is exciting. I mean, you look at it. I watch a lot of this stuff as it goes down. I see a lot of stuff that. Okay, AB, you were saying you like to trust all of the things that Light says or that the organization says or whatever. Do you? I mean, I don't want them putting our business out there, and it's the kind of thing where, I hear Jason Light say, yeah, it has nothing to do, or that settling that lawsuit has nothing to do with whether or not he comes back. Well, no, it doesn't, but it sure is easier now, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just easier. It's not rocket science. It's not. I mean, it's just easier. You know, at most, maybe they'll suspend him a couple of games, maybe. But other than that, he's probably good to go. I mean, it's.
Oh, I don't think you have to worry about any kind of suspension or discipline. The only reason he would get disciplined more, the NFL came out and said, and this is why that civil suit was such a big deal. If there was any new evidence that arose in the civil suit,
Right.
then there would be grounds for suspension. So I don't think you have to worry about any kind of.
Yeah, I mean, that's why as I look at it, I laugh and say, it's one more thing that has gone right for the Bucs.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's crazy in a world when one thing after another keeps going right for this franchise. Here we go.
Yeah, and I bring it back to a conversation I had with Jeff Darlington back in December. He told me that he spoke to Brady, and Brady told him, we're just getting started. You think this is great? Wait till next year.
Yeah.
And now they have everybody back. Another year together of what, by all accounts, will be a pretty normal offseason as soon as Tom is ready to go from that offseason knee surgery. And we saw what they did in a pandemic year where they had no training camp, no preseason games, really. The training camp was a joke. It was a ramp-up period. No OTAs, no off-season work other than the prep practices. And now we're going to see them with a full off-season together, full time to work together, and really nail down, implement more of BA's offense, implement more of Tom's offense now that they have Giovanni Bernard and the pass sketching back there. It's going to open up. And if OJ's still on the team and everyone's healthy, that 12 personnel look that they can roll out there.
It is crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about the fact that this could be the greatest Tom Brady led team ever. That's bizarre. As a Bucs fan, it's hard for my mind to sort of spin around that. So
as a Patriots fan, you're right. It is.
Well, one thing though, at the same time is, did they just also simultaneously subtract a player from the roster, because now they have to make a move in order. It's only, everybody talks about being able to afford the draft class, costing $6 or $7 million. Well, really, when you cancel out the back end of the contracts that are on the roster, draft class only costs around $2 to $3 million to sign. But the Bucs don't even have that right now. So,
but I think that's easy for any team. That is actually, I think, an easy number.
Right. But I'm just saying though. But what they obviously have to make a move. So what's going to happen next? Are they going to trade a Cam Braid or cut him? Are they going to readjust a contract? Or are they going to extend a Ryan Jensen?
Rojo, I think Rojo's gone.
No, his money's fully guaranteed, and I don't even think they'd save anything if they cut.
You don't think they'll trade him?
No, I don't think they trade him either. They like
Wow.
him. At the end of the day, I mean, dude, he ran for over 900 yards last year,
Well, I
and
understand that he
he led
did.
the NFL in rushing for the 3 weeks that Leonard Fournette was out. During that span when he was hurt. So, no, man, they're not going to trade him. He's too valuable.
Well, that's
Well,
the
if
thing.
he,
And
That's
plus,
my thing.
why would a team trade for a running back on the last year of his deal? It's just a 1 year rental. I wouldn't, if I were any team, I wouldn't spend any draft capital except maybe a 7th round pick on that.
Unless
And
they're
at the end of
re-signing
the
him,
day,
unless they're signing him like a sign and like
a team like the Steelers could.
yeah, but
yeah.
running back is such a fickle position in the NFL. It's just, to me, I'm looking at it from more of the NFL team perspective. If I was running a team, I wouldn't trade for him.
He's not that. The reason I say I don't believe he's that critical is they didn't use him in the postseason. If he was
Well, he
critical,
was hurt.
he'd certainly be used more in the postseason. No, they
Well,
were using him at the end of the games,
he
at the end of the
yeah, but
season.
he entirely missed the Washington game. Now I don't know his stats right off the top of my head for the last 3 games,
Right.
but and Leonard Fournette was also playing really well, and Bruce Arians has always talked about riding the hot hand. For once, he finally did it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think Rojo just at the end of the day, was a victim of circumstance
I
more than
just
anything.
wonder. I wonder if you don't trade Rojo for who cares, a fifth. Don't tell me nobody's gonna take a shot bringing
But
in
he's worth more than a
an
5th round
almost.
pick.
I understand that, but you're opening. Listen, in a perfect world, yeah, sure. But the Patriots for years have been trading people who for less than they've been worth.
Yeah. There's definitely a move to come. I mean, per Greg Auman, before the Brown signing, the NFLPA records showed them at a little over $900,000 in cap space. So, is it the Jensen move that comes? I mean, do they
That's what
go
you
to?
hope. If you're a Bucs fan, that's what you hope for.
That's what I hope too. But then does that take off another player on the board? I mean, does that take off a guy like a Landon Dickerson? Does that take off a
Probably.
guy like
Yeah.
a Quinn Miners off the board for them as a potential draft target?
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. And honestly, if they did extend Jensen, that would open up for a guy like a Trey Smith in the 3rd round, 4th round. Who, besides all Tennessee bias aside on my part, he would be an excellent pick. In the 3rd or 4th round. The dude,
Yeah.
if he can live up to his potential, I mean, he was the #1 overall recruit in the country at one point, and before he came to like not just the #1 offensive tackle, like the #1 overall player in the country. But either way, that would open the door for someone like him. Either way, extending Jensen would be the best. Cam Brates being removed from the roster is probably the most likely. But it's going to be really, really interesting to see what they do over these next couple of days.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to drop this, but I mean, I think we're all kind of surprised that Jensen hasn't been done yet, especially because when you have a quarterback center relationship, and it seemed to be a really good one, you'd want to keep that guy, especially where you're extending Donovan Smith. You want to keep that line as much intact. Alex Kappa's probably going to get a payday if everything works well for him this season. He's improved every year. But even Ali Marpet was surprised Jensen wasn't done when I spoke with him the other day. So that's something that I think is natural to come is an extension with Jensen. I don't think he's going to break the bank for you. You can tack on some void years. I'm thinking maybe 2 years, a $22 million extension, a little pay raise from the $10 million he's making now. I think that makes a lot of sense. But we'll obviously have to wait and see what they do. They have to make a move, whether that is maybe OJ or Cam Braid or something like that. I really don't see many other positions they could really move on from other than tight end to save some money.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is at the end of the day, you're limited with your players. Like somebody talked about extending Carlton Davis at one point. Well, that wouldn't really do anything because Carlton Davis is only making around $2.3 million this year, something like that.
Rookie
You
deal.
extend him, you're going to chop off. You're going to chop off maybe $1 million at most. So yeah, extending Jensen. You could extend Will Golson, but he's 30. What? As he reminded us on Twitter, he's 29, but will be 30 this year going into the season.
Yeah.
He'll be 31 by the time next year rolls around. So, do you want to pay him? That's just the biggest question. Yeah, so it's really extending Golson or cutting him, extending Jensen, cutting Brait, or trading Brait, and then those are really your three probably most realistic options.
Now, let's get into that real quick. If they do trade Cam Brate, what teams do you see being able to afford him? Because remember, he also has 3 years left, including this year on his deal. But what teams could afford him? What teams could need him that haven't addressed a tight end? I thought that the Patriots would have maybe been a good fit, but obviously they did some work this season with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. But what teams are out there that maybe could make a move? And not only that, what would his value be in return?
But yeah, that's a good question there, because really, Cam Brate from a Buck, he's got 3 years, like you said, all sticking north of 6 million.
They're kind of breaking up on us, Evan.
In the contract. Yeah, hold on one second.
Because I don't think we got any of that.
Hey, sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry, I'm at work,
Yeah, no worries.
so I get really bad service here. So, like I said, I'll have to hop off real quick. But either way, I think package deal. If you want to move up in the third or fourth, let's say, you trade your.
And we lost them. But I think he makes a good point. I don't know if it makes sense to actually just trade him straight up for a draft pick or something like that. I think it's probably his highest value is maybe a 5th-round pick if you're lucky. To a team like Jacksonville, could still use a tight end on that roster. Maybe the Jets, I know they signed Tyler Kroft and have Chris Herndon, but maybe they want a true pass catcher to go with their young quarterback. There's multiple routes for them to take to be able to move an asset such as Brate, but also maybe move him in a trade up scenario, which is what Evan was alluding to before we lost him. Maybe you include him in a swap where maybe you want to move up from 95 to a certain pick, and you wrap him in a deal which lets you move up in the 3rd round, or lets you move up in the 2nd round, or improve your draft stock that year. Maybe they look to move him in a future pick trade because, as we were talking about with Rick earlier, pushing draft picks into the future makes a lot of sense. And if you can wrap him into a trade that gets you a future asset, maybe a conditional pick, something like that, that could be an interesting scenario. A lot of people have kind of called for a potentially moving on from OJ Howard too. And I understand former 1st-round pick hasn't lived up to expectations, has been injured. But to me, his value in this offense, if healthy, big question mark, is a lot more than what Cam Brate can provide. Cam Brate, reliable, wonderful pass catcher. But the fact of the matter is he's not a good blocker. And when he's on the field, you pretty much know what you're getting. You're getting a receiver out of Cam Brate. With OJ Howard, it opens up so much more in the playbook, and you can literally run any offense at any time with him on there because of his speed, because of his athleticism, because of his ability to kick outside into the slot. He's a Ferrari of a tight end, but he can also block. He's gotten better every year at doing that, and picking up pointers and learning from behind. Gronk has improved that. 12 personnel I've been talking about, and then those who don't know, I want to explain it for you, is when you have 2 tight ends on the field, 2 wide receivers, and a running back. So what that allows you to do is have some of your best playmakers on the field in a guy like OJ Howard, Rob Gronkowski, Evans, Godwin, and then a running back in the backfield. That sets up play action a lot better because with that extra tight end, they don't know if you're going to run the ball. They don't know if you're going to pass out of it. And if Leonard Fournette can find his hands or keep the hands he found in the playoffs, I mean, that truly opens up everything because he's truly a dual threat type of guy where he can, he had 70 catches the year before he came here. So if he can find those hands again with Tom Brady, you don't know if you're running it. You don't know if you're passing it. You can do a play action wide running back, out route. So, there's so many different things you can do in that 12 personnel set. It would be amazing to keep a guy like OJ Howard, but it ultimately comes down to dollars and cents. I mean, we're talking about $6 million to OJ, $6 million to Cam Brate, what they want to do. with those contracts is going to be interesting. Another option too is they could, instead of cutting or trading Cam Brate, he's owed no guaranteed money left. He could essentially rip up his deal and sign a new one. Something like 3 years, $9 million. Now I know he'd be leaving a lot of money on the table, but is he going to get that money in free agency elsewhere? If he is cut, I doubt it. And he loves this team. He loves the players on there. We know that. They've been taking vacations. They go out all the time. He caught the Lombardi Trophy over the over the water from Tom Brady. So maybe they rip it up and they give him some sort of incentives with 3 years, 9 million, with 12 million, able to earn $4 million a year. It's a far cry from the was it six I think 20 something million that he's making, scheduled to make, but there's definitely a possibility in that scenario as well. But guys, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What do you want to do? Do we look to trade a guy like Cam Brate? Do you want to restructure him? Is Ryan Jensen the guy you're going after? Do you approach maybe Ali Marpet or Mike Evans again for restructures, even though they've been restructuring multiple times for this team? How does this team open up cap space, and where do they go in the draft? That's what I'm wondering. Feel free to voice your opinions down in the comments, and we'll talk about them. But the fact of the matter is, Antonio Brown is back. He's back. He's back. It's going to be a tremendous offense. Another year together in the system. Another year growing as a team. I like I said, I don't know. I don't know how teams are going to be able to stop this squad. I really don't. They are just. Let's see, Eric Scott. Let's take the best kick returner. Punt returner is available. Isn't that fast guy Bateman or whatever his name is? I mean, I don't think this precludes them from taking a wide receiver. I really don't. If there's value there on the board, they could definitely take a guy who has ability like a Rashad Bateman that can be a punt returner for this team. They could address it in multiple different ways and multiple different facets for them to be able to not only add to a position of strength. I mean, that's a luxury here, right? And we keep talking about luxury because that's truly what it is. They have a luxury to go anywhere they want at any point in the draft. They could trade back, they could trade out, they could trade up. I mean, there's so many different possibilities for them. Hey, welcome back, Rick.
Thanks, man. Having some internet issues here.
Not a problem. It's not like I don't have my own show or anything. So
Right. No, I know. I was like, well, that's good. I couldn't be in better hands.
Yeah, right. If anybody else, it might be a little bit disastrous. But I actually have to run, man. I've got to get myself ready, But, man,
Yep.
Antonio Brown is back. The draft is tomorrow. You're going to be down here tomorrow. Guys, get to Fergs. There might be actually a little something else coming out for the giveaway. Make sure you're there Thursday and Friday. It's going to
Awesome.
be a great time tomorrow, Friday. I'm excited about the draft more than ever. I've got my mock draft coming out today, mock draft coming out tomorrow.
Sweet.
Mocks. But, Rick, always a pleasure. I love that you hopped on here.
You got it, man. And even if I just did hop on and then bail quickly, and I'm going to go because I'm like put together with duct tape and super glue and bubble gum right around here, so I'm gonna go as well. But guys, Antonio Brown is back. AB is back. The draft starts tomorrow, guys. The fun begins. Let's get ready. Strap up, guys. Bucs fans, buckle up. This is it.
This is it. We're here.
Thanks, Joshua. Thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go because, like I said, I've got everything just sort of duct taped together around here at the moment. We're connected through my hotspot on my phone, and anyway, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get this going, guys. Thanks a lot for being here tonight or today. I will be back around tomorrow. God forbid there's any breaking news. Who knows what's gonna happen later today? But I will be tomorrow in Tampa at Fergs in St. Pete, bringing the draft live to you guys. That's what we're going to be doing here at Bucs Report. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We got a great group of people here who are going to be doing this, and it's going to be a blast. We got the best of the Bay, Ray Kennedy. He's going to be there. We've got Harry the Greek. He's going to be there. Lots of surprises, stuff you guys don't even know about. It's on its way. So I look forward to seeing you guys at Ferg's or right here on the Bucs Report.